Okay, what's up? It's the Ascension of Babylon. What we do here is we talk about the occult, we talk about spirituality, and we talk about the healing process. If that is your thing and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and let's get into it. So, your energy goes where your attention flows. This is the law of energy and how energy operates. And this is also why the system is actually set up in a way to pull in your attention, therefore harvesting your energy. And they utilize many different methods that are actually forms of spiritual warfare in order to do this. They utilize religion, they utilize the news, TV, social media, movies, and and many other different things, many other different aspects of the system are all utilized to take your attention, to take your energy. The people that have a lot of control and a lot of influence over our matrix, who are operating from a space of not always having our best interest, they understand what I'm sharing with you in this video, and they want your attention to go to sources that actually benefits them and just reinforces the negative aspects of the matrix system that they are benefiting from existing, or from them existing. The truth is, we are all creating the matrix system that we exist in. It is not a bad thing. It is not a soul trap. It is not something that is wrong. But our relationship to it is what determines whether we are giving our energy away, planting our attention in places that's not going to grow, something beneficial for us, or where maybe we're giving our energy to things that are actually going to grow into something that is desirable to us and something that creates a reality that is more sustainable for our evolutionary process. And the way we actually reverse this dynamic, the way that we reverse the energy harvesting that is going on, is by seeing ourselves as the creator and therefore finding relatability to the matrix system itself. This means the negative aspects of it, and this means the people who are largely influencing the mass collective subconscious in a way that is more negative in its nature, in a way that's coming from a space of wanting to manipulate and wanting to control consciousness in order to continually reinforce the aspects of the system that are seen as beneficial to these kinds of individuals. We have to find relatability to those people and to these aspects of the system, which most people, by demonizing, are just feeding energy into. These aspects of the system and these people who are largely wanting you to give attention and energy to these aspects are parts of you. They can represent negative personality traits that you don't want to take ownership over or of, identities and certain qualities of being that you don't want to see in yourself, and wounded, more sensitive parts of yourself that are actually driving you to identify with these identities and personality traits in order to actually avoid what is underneath the surface. So that's those wounded parts of you. They largely understand the science and the psychology that I am explaining to you right now. And they know if you find relatability to the system rather than rejecting it, rather than living in some narrative that you're in some soul trap and that the system is bad and these people are bad and all that stuff, they know that if you find relatability to the system and to them, you will be able to take back your power because you're taking ownership over the internal parts that are being reflected back to you through the system itself. So to kind of further help you understand what I'm trying to convey, we are all the source. We are all God in physical form. And what is God? God is the painter and what is being painted. God is the creator, experiencing itself through the entirety of the created cosmos. So this means as human beings, we are all aspects of each other, even if there's aspects that we don't necessarily resonate with or we need to have boundaries with. If it's taking place in our reality experience, if there are certain kinds of people that we are magnetizing into our sphere of influence, or even if it's something that's being experienced on a collective level and isn't necessarily being experienced directly in our lives, these are aspects of us. Because once again, we are all things, we are God, we are source, experiencing itself as one thing, as an individual, in an individual body with an ego that defines itself oftentimes as being singular, but we're not singular, or we're not just singular. We are also, by paradox, many. We are all. So a piece of our power and our potential is existing in these different aspects of the system. So for instance, the entertainment industry, they use a lot of psychic warfare on the collective, just different aspects of the system that you might perceive to be bad or negative. A piece of your power and potential is accessible for you to reclaim by finding relatability with whatever that external thing is, with that aspect of the system. And the same thing goes for the people that are largely influencing and controlling the system. They represent parts of you. So to access the source consciousness to a deeper and more embodied degree, we have to start recollecting our power through the interface of the external reality experience itself on both a personal level, meaning what's happening in our lives, and even on a collective level, meaning what's unfolding on the world stage, politics, different aspects of the system, the people who control it, and things of that nature. It is all you reflecting you back to you so you can better know you. And this is why they utilize religion, they utilize politics, the right and the left and things of that nature. They utilize these different, what I like to call dualistic programs, to separate you from these different aspects of you that are showing up in the form of what you're seeing on the world stage, what you're seeing in external reality, and this directly connects to what you're also seeing in your, field of influence in general, in your personal life. If they can keep you separated from what you are, they can continue to harvest your energy, because when you're operating from separation, you're also going to be coming from a place to where you are externalizing your attention into these, aspects of the matrix, into the entertainment industry, into doom scrolling, social media, what certain politicians are doing and what's going on the world stage. And when I say externalizing your attention, I mean in a limiting way. If everything's you, then you want to pay some attention to it. You want to be mindful of it, but without outsourcing your power to it. So for instance, when a lot of people are in resistance to, let's say, Donald Trump, right? And I'm not saying I like Donald Trump, because in reality, I don't think he's the healthiest person, but from a deeper spiritual perspective, I can see why he exists, to be a collective catalyst as well, and I can appreciate that much. So there are a lot of people that are in resistance to him. They're fighting him. They're like, he's bad, he's wrong, he's evil. I literally know people that every single day they complain about Donald Trump, but all they're doing is separating themselves from the part of them that Donald Trump is projecting back. And because it's too much of a revelation for them to actually see Donald Trump within themselves as an aspect of them, they project this in the form of resistance. And what does that do? It feeds the negative aspects of the matrix that I was referring to. Because the negative aspects of the matrix that actually are there to harvest people's energy through the law of attention and how energy works, they sustain themselves through resistance. They sustain themselves through attention. They sustain themselves through people that are in this us versus them kind of mentality, and are separated from the understanding that even though we are having an experience as an individual, we are also all things and everything at the same time by paradox. So you reverse the effects of this kind of energy harvesting by finding relatability to what you're seeing playing out on the world stage. What parts of me is this circumstance or this situation or this person potentially reflecting back to me, to where I can get to better know them and, integrate them to a much deeper level. And you stop putting your attention into things that are just dualistic programs, like certain religions or religious belief systems. Certain, like political beliefs and stuff like that, politics, what's going on the news, and all that stuff that a lot of people pay so much attention to as if it actually fucking matters. As if that, putting your attention into all the negative nonsense on the news is gonna actually change anything in their lives. It's not. If anything, it's gonna solidify an identity that keeps creating the things that they don't actually want to experience. Because when we're putting our attention into those kinds of things and we're not conscious of it, we're existing from an identity that's not necessarily the healthiest and is not necessarily in resonance with the way our soul truly wants to experience itself. The Matrix is a vampire, but it can oftentimes reflect back to us our own vampiric qualities that we actually just don't want to see. So if you take the average person who's in the spiritual space and the Matrix is bad, this is bad, we need to fight against the Matrix, these bad people, these are people that are in denial to their own vampiric qualities and their own negative personality traits that make them, that make them vampiric in their nature, vampiric in a way that is not sustainable to their evolutionary process, and they're projecting their own internal resistance in the form of, we need to fight against this. This thing is disconnected from me, or separate from me. I'm right, but there's this bad politician and they're doing this thing and we need to talk about it and make a big deal about it, and all of that stuff, all that does is continue to feed the vampire. All it does is continue to feed the system itself. And when I say the system, I don't mean it's bad. I don't mean it's not there for a reason. But the reason why the system can seem so negative is because we exist on a planet where most people are in denial to their own negativity and their own negative traits. So through the law of how energy operates, what people resist is going to persist in the form of physical manifestation. This is why there's so many world leaders that have all these negative personality traits, and they have an abusive relationship with the mass collective and with the rest of the human species, because it reflects the abusive relationship that the human species actually has with itself. So to reverse this dynamic on a personal level, I mean, you can't change everyone, but you can change yourself. Find relatability to the system. Find relatability to the people that are running the system, people in positions of power and stuff like that. And stop putting your attention into things that are just programs that are designed to imprison you energetically and spiritually. This is what I wanted to say. If you gained value from this video, absolutely hit that like button. You can hype it up if you would like, and I will catch you in the next video. Thank you for your time.